Okay, so y'all want to learn about how to make a better car video? Well, I got you. So I've made equipment videos in my past about how I make my car videos, and it's been probably about 1.5 years since I've updated the video. I used to use a different camera setup and a few other things, but overall, a lot has not changed. But I'm still gonna show you, if you're a newcomer to my YouTube channel, how to make a better car video, or how to at least improve it, but something on a different level than what you once were, or if you want to step your game up with baby steps. This is a great way to learn how to learn better cinematography, or just a better way of doing things in general to make your YouTube videos feel a little bit more professional than just hitting a GoPro and hitting go. YouTube now is a different space than it once was. It's much more substance over quality, if that makes sense. But some people like to stick out more than others by putting a little bit more effort in how things look, or adding tripods or gimbals or things like that. So this is where we're gonna start. So first things first, you gotta know what your purpose is and what you want your goal to be for this video. So for, say I'm doing a glamour shot video, I'm gonna need a more powerful camera. I actually used a Canon Rebel T3i for 5 years straight, and it was a fantastic camera to get started with, and I absolutely loved it. However, as time went on, the sensor went out, and I decided to upgrade to one step above. You can argue to get a really powerful camera like a Sony a7S II, but it doesn't have a flip screen, so you can't really see what you're doing if you want to, see what you're doing. And also, the battery life only lasts about 20 minutes sometimes. However, what I upgraded to was a Panasonic Gh4. The Panasonic Gh4 shoots 4K, you can shoot in slow motion. The Gh5 just came out, which is even better than the Gh4, but the Gh4 is still a very powerful camera. Basically, you have very crisp resolution compared to my previous T3i. However, with the T3i, you can get pretty crazy depth of field. The Panasonic Gh4 can be a very cinematic camera, but at the same time, it has a little bit steeper of a learning curve. You also might need to use a more powerful lens, and that's where money really starts coming in. So my Panasonic Gh4 uses a series of different lenses. The one I use for car reviews, as in inside the car, is actually a wide angle. So let me get that for you. This is a Tokina 11-16 wide angle lens. It's very, very good at what it does. It's not super cinematic, but it gets everything. It's really good for landscapes and things like that. But it's also great for inside of the car. I actually mount the Gh4 inside of the car. Contrary to what a lot of people think is a GoPro, it's actually my big Gh4 hanging from the windshield. The best bang for your buck lens for making cars look pretty is this. This is a 50mm 1.4 Canon lens. And you're gonna say, oh, but David, you're using a Panasonic camera. How are you using Canon lenses? Well, I'm actually using something called the Metabone Speed Booster. Instead of buying extremely expensive Panasonic ones, to this guy. So, life's a lot easier that way. So when I go shoot stuff like Formula Drift or things like that, where I need to be far away to get the action, I just use a cheap telephoto lens. This is a Canon telephoto lens. It doesn't have image stabilization, so you do have to be really careful, and your results sometimes can be very shaky. So this is a tripod lens. You gotta use a tripod with this lens, or it comes out like crap. And I'd say my most powerful lens is the one you're looking at right now. This is a Sigma 18-35. It's very, very sharp, and it does very well in low light situations. One important thing that I've actually recently started using, but should have used a long time ago, is one of these. This is a polarizer, or a filter, whatever you want to call it. This is basically sunglasses for your lens. If it's too bright outside and everything's really washed out and gross and overexposed, you can put this on the camera and it darkens everything up. So you can readjust it. This one's actually an adjustable one, so I can turn it for lightness and darkness, which is very convenient and makes my life a lot easier in very bright situations. So my next biggest question a lot of people ask me is, so do you use GoPros at all? And the answer is, yeah, I totally do, but I use it for outside of the car. I'd much rather lose a GoPro or break a GoPro, what it was made for, instead of hanging my very expensive camera outside and just sticking it on, basically. That's why I just don't really talk about them a lot, because they're more of a tool in my arsenal. Not so much my main course, which is my Gh4. But GoPros are very vital. They're extremely easy to use. make sure whenever you apply a GoPro, it sounds weird, you lick the suction cup. That creates a better adhesive force, and a lot of people end up selling their GoPros because they didn't do the suction cup right. They're like, it keeps falling off, dude, oh. But that's not the case. You have to do it just right, and that sucker will stay on no matter what. If you're on a vehicle that is like made of bare metal, like there's no paint or clear coat, it's not gonna stick. I learned that in Hawaii, and the GoPro fell off the car. Another camera that I actually encourage if you just want to get into YouTube, you want to get into just vlogging or just very simple shooting, is one of these. This is a Canon G7x. It's extremely easy to use. It can fit in your pocket. It doesn't disturb the piece. And the quality is almost as good as a T3i that I used to use. The biggest benefit of this camera is this guy. Flip up. This is actually the same camera big vloggers like Roman At would use. And all they have to do is go blah, 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 blah. But it's good because if you want to set it up, you can use the screen as a little tripod too. So you can set it up on tables, so on and so forth. Only bad thing is you don't want to mount this to a windshield or you get really bad built-in image stabilization, which makes it warp and be really gross. And that's just something you don't want. It's very distracting for the viewer if it's just warping all over the place. The tripod I use is actually a Davis & Sanford. It's big and beefy and ridiculous, and it can handle just about any weight of camera. And I also use a Manfrotto head. It's just giant head that goes like that. It's fluid head, so when I go motion like this, when I'm following, say, a really fast car, it's no problem at all. It has perfect stable movement. Another thing I added to my arsenal recently was a stabilizer. So this, screw that up. So this is a Beholder EC1. It comes in a case that kind of looks like a gun case. You open it up, see? And essentially how it works is just like a traditional gimbal that have been so popular with GoPros, just with a bigger camera. So it's like this, and when you turn it on, the battery's actually dead right now because this doofus lost the charger. They're very easy to lose, so keep that in mind if you get one of these. And the camera sits on this as a perfect platform, and it'll perfectly stabilize the movement as the camera's sitting on it. I've actually used it for a few videos, and it's really, really great for doing fast mobile shooting. I also recommend the Ronin, but the Ronin is like $2,000 sometimes, so depending on which model you buy, the Ronin is, in my opinion, the best stabilizer on the market. But at the same time, a lot of people's videos come out looking the same because they all use the same stabilizer. I'm not saying my videos are better, they're not, but I'm saying it's a different look for sure. So that one's a little bit more mobile. I can bring it on airplanes, stuff like that, and they don't care. Also, I use a Doozy Cinovate slider dolly now, but believe it or not, I used a $90 slider dolly for 5 years, and it did me just fine. I just had to grease it sometimes, but this one has a wheel system in it, so it's very, very fluid and very, very easy to use. Believe it or not, in my last equipment video, I used to use a jib crane. So basically what I had to do with that was put it together, do a pulley system, and get these really cool drop shots. But carrying it around a big car event is just not worth it. It's very distracting. You can accidentally hit people in the head with it because you're carrying this big giant crane around, and you don't want to scratch up people's cars or anything. So I don't recommend getting a crane. As cool as the shots are, you have to think about the time and the effort and the just complete hassle it is to have a miniature jib crane. I loved using it, but it was only when it was actually put together. You had to get a counterweight on it too, so it was pretty complicated. I also occasionally use a boom microphone for interviews. So a boom microphone is that fuzzy thing on the pole, and that's it. You just do that, you aim it right towards somebody's neck, and that gets their vocal cords, and that gets perfect sound resonance. But before we move on to the next pieces of equipment, let's talk about today's sponsor, Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community for creators with more than 17,000 classes in design, photo, and more. And premium membership gives you unlimited access so you can keep learning, find inspiration, and take on new projects wherever you want. The first 500 people to use the promo link, their first 2 months free. And then it's as low as 10 bucks a month. And after that, continue learning if you like it. If you don't like it, go ahead and cancel, there's no risk. So you can learn from anywhere, you can download the mobile app on Android or iPhone and tap into classes even when you're offline. So make sure to check out the link in the description if you'd like to check out Skillshare. It's a really awesome program, and it's actually what inspired me to make this video to teach you more about the craft of filmmaking in the car world. I'm a really bad photo still photographer, so when I look at Skillshare, it gives me extra advice on the rule of thirds and things like that. Things that you can learn into a film school, but on the app instead, which I highly recommend. So here's the two cameras. This is a G7x. This is the Panasonic Gh4. You might notice the Gh4 is sharper in pretty much every single way, but you're gonna need to color grade this, but you won't need to color grade this because it's pretty much already said and done. Canon has really good color. All right, suction cup, Gh4, have your screen flipped like this. Turn it that way, lick it, don't judge me. Turn it, put it in a spot like here, press as hard as you can, do the two first, then take your last one, and according to car, they'll have different kind of sizes of windshield. The Mustang, I can just loosen this up and then go basically straight up and down. You want this as straight up and down as possible so it's nice and stable and not angled like that. You don't want your camera angle to be like that. That's called a Dutch angle. You don't want that. So basically lock this down. Every single little thing needs to be as tight as possible or your camera could fly off. And as a precaution, if you've never done this before, put like a pillow in the footwell in case you're driving around and it just falls. You don't want that to happen. Also make sure this right here is very tight because you could be driving or accelerating or taking a turn and it spins on you. It's happened many a time. This is also a Rode video mic if you are wondering what I use for audio. Very simple and attaches to any DSLR pretty much. So there you go. I'm gonna show you how to actually mount a GoPro. A lot of people's fall off when the cars are going really fast, but it's literally one simple thing to do and it looks really weird and people are gonna judge you, but you're gonna lick it. You come over here, you pick your spot, you want a flat surface or glass. Glass is always the best for the most part, but you pick a more flat surface. You don't want any kind of creases in it like this on the fender. So you want it kind of like maybe on here or right here is a really good spot. Things where this entire circumference is basically flat. Right here, just lick it. You go like this, you have it as loose as possible when it comes to the suction cup before you put it on. Then you go like this, press as hard as you can. Literally as hard as you can. Push down, boom. You just have the little kind of knobs right here. And you can readjust this, do that. Never have your GoPro like this either, because in editing, it'll be absolutely impossible. You won't be able to flip it 180. You can always hang a GoPro upside down, and you can always have it upright. You can't have it sideways, or it looks like junk. It's like, think of it shooting vertically on Instagram. Like, why are you doing that, dude? Turn your phone sideways. So that's about it, guys. This is all the equipment I use for all of my videos. Nothing too crazy. I don't even own a drone. I know I should have one, but I don't. But you don't need a ton of fancy equipment to make a really cool video. You kind of have to use a little bit of ingenuity in your imagination, and you can get some really cool shots. I mean, occasionally you can even use a skateboard for dolly shots. Don't think that's unorthodox. Just do it. Whatever it takes to get the shot. That's what you do sometimes. On that note, guys, thank you for watching this video. I actually have all the equipment in the description below if you want to check any of that out. And I'll see you guys next time. Take it easy. Have a freaking great day. Goodbye.